I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Monday, August the 7th, brought to you in part by Macrocin by Bimeda. Macrocin stands up to Pioneer products in big trials. It's proven efficacy at an affordable upfront price, without the BS, end of story. For more information, go to macrocin.com. Also, Joplin Regional Stockyards, got a moderate run for them, about 4,500 head. They're going to sleep in, not going to get started till 7 o'clock in the morning. And they are going to have one of their primetime livestock videos immediately following the auction there on Monday. They do that quite often. If you guys are interested in consigning some of your cattle to a primetime livestock video, don't wait for a big video. Just get a hold of your favorite field representative there, and he gets you plugged into one of these videos that they have in conjunction or immediately following their regular sale. And as hot as the market is, guys, you'll be well taken care of. Negotiated drama, this past week after the Packer playbook was unveiled, and we still don't know everything about that. We don't know for sure what the source of that was. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, go back a few visits and get my commentary that's entitled Packer Playbook, and you'll know what I'm talking about. But we know that it came from Ag Center there. The more I've found out about it, the more I believe that it has validity to it, and I believe that if not coming directly from a packer or a country buyer, we know that it's true what they do, but I just don't know that anybody's ever wrote it down like they did in the unveiling of the Packers playbook there. And so, but everybody knew about it. People saw it on here, people saw it on Ag Center's Cattle Report. It was talked about in several ag media publications, so everybody knew it was out. And for whatever reason or not, it's not like the few guys that sell negotiated cash didn't know what they're doing to them. They still don't like to have their nose rubbed in it. And noticeably, you could tell this past week that the few guys that sell negotiated cash were being more open with each other, more open to other feedlot managers and those guys that are selling fat cattle. They were more apt to stick together to try to hold out for higher prices. Now you're going to be disappointed because USDA's website was shut down for maintenance over the weekend, so I won't have all the totals for you on what actually did trade. And it's amazing to me. That's the second time that's happened in just 2 weeks. They spend an enormous amount of taxpayer funds to run a fairly simple database to tell us what's going on. The Packers do all the work, putting the information in. All they have to do is read it and send it out, and they can't even keep the damn website open for us. And instead of telling us that it's going to be down for maintenance, we don't find that out until we pull it up there. And so I didn't get that information. I'm sure it'll be back up and going on Monday, and we'll give you the full story on our next visit. But this fat cattle deal, it got pretty snaky there, and the Packers were doing exactly what their playbook says, and like I said, rubbing guys' nose in it. They hadn't traded any cattle in the Southern Plains at all. The board had been up big the whole second half of the week, and you had majors in southwest Kansas trying to buy a pen of cows. You could call them heiferettes, but what I was told, they're mostly cows, and trying to give $179 for them. The guy didn't even ask that much money for them. They were just wanting to get something traded. They can put them wherever they want to. Nobody's ever going to check up on them on that. They can put them in the over 80% choice or the 65 to 80 or wherever they want. It's not like somebody from USDA is going to come in there and verify and check that. That is not going to happen. So they can put them wherever they want to, and they just wanted to get the market established at $179. That's a dirty trick. And that's what they're capable of. That's what they do week in and week out. It didn't work. From what I heard, this individual did not sell them at 179. He might wish he had them. But I did hear that there was some pretty strong rumors of at least a little bit of 180 trade in the Southern Plains last week, and that would have been $1 to $2 higher. And the Southern Plains traded higher within the previous week's price range there. But we're bound to be getting to the breaking point where the Packers desperately need the product. They've got a lot of product already contracted. We'll be getting close to the holiday demand here before long, and they've got a lot of it contracted for then. And then they don't have a whole lot of product in their coolers right now. And so that's going to be a standoff with tight supplies, continued tight supplies, and the tight supplies are going to be extremely tight on top grading cattle. There's not going to be a lot of top graders, going to be mostly calves, and they don't have the age in there that they need to really grade and hit those high marks on your quality grade. So it'll be interesting to see how things go forward here. We saw big gains on your cattle futures last week, big losses on the grains. It's still a weather market. When you get some rains right there through the middle of the Corn Belt, it's going to back off quite a bit there. We saw our best feeders of the year, those coming out of the Flint Hills for the most part, and the Osage, but those green grass double stock yearlings coming off, they're mostly gone now. So there's a few deals to be picked up here in the first part of August, but for the most part, all those deals have been picked up. They were only out there for 90 days. You've got a select group of feedlots, mostly your larger family feeding operations, that really go after those high performance cattle. I mean, those cattle gain 4.5 pounds a day and maybe 2 or 3 at night. And the majors, corporates, are not going to reach out and push the envelope for those cattle. And in fact, most of them don't even know what those cattle would do, and those big family feeding operations don't want them to know what they'll do. And so they're going to get most of those cattle. They're getting pretty full. I mean, they knew how many cattle were out there. They knew how aggressive they were getting on them, and not a lot of extra pen space for those feedlots that really go after those high performance cattle that are coming off the Flint Hills and the Osage right there. And we're kind of sitting in a little lull here. We'll get some more yearlings coming off the foothills of the Rockies and the sand hills in Nebraska and some places like that here going forward. But we're hitting right here in a little lull where our auction receipts are fairly light unless somebody's having a special, and not going to be as many cattle moving as what we saw for about 2 or 2.5 weeks there in the last part of July. Calves, I noted this past week, hit $4 on a big string of light 4-weight steers on Superior Livestock video sale there in Winnemucca, the Video Royale. There was a couple groups there that hit $4, but no further than that. But $4 is a big price that we've never ever seen before in the history of selling cattle. You might have seen it on 1 or 2, or maybe even a bumper pull trailer load, but not long strings of cattle. And we do have that established now. I think the calves prices have a lot more leg to go. We got corn back under $5 a bushel, not a whole lot under $5 a bushel, but it got back under there this week as the market went down. I think everything we've seen as far as inventories and things like that show us that we're going to be extremely tight on numbers. And if we can get some more rains in places that have fall grazing, especially if we have some hard red winter wheat grazing, later this fall, these calves, they might look cheap right now. There's no telling how high they could get. Let's talk about the board for last week. August live cattle futures. Monday was down a dime. Tuesday was up $1.45. Wednesday down $1.47. Thursday up 47, and Friday up 240. With August live cattle ending the week at 180.90, up 275 for the week. No wonder they didn't want to let them set the market at 179 whenever the futures are sitting at 180.90. But then you look at the Northern Plains and they're trading them, $7 higher than that. Talk about October, the next month out, ended the week at 182.90, and that was up $3.30 for the week. Your August feeder cattle, Monday was unchanged, Tuesday was up 287. Wednesday they took back $1.65 of that. Thursday up $1.12. Friday up 157 with the grains down big all week. And August feeder cattle ended the week at 249.52. That was up 392 for the week. September ended the week at 253.45, up 448. Now I realize that these yearlings have been bringing big prices. Now they backed off a little bit because we just saw some plainer kinds coming to town. Wasn't because the market was down any, but these futures prices, especially with August, it's a $5 premium to what our index levels are, our cash index levels are. So it's pretty lofty up there. Let's talk about new crop December corn. Ended the week on regular trading at 497 1/4. That was down 33 cents a bushel for the week. November beans, that's the new crop, 1333 1/4 at the end of trading last week. That was down 49 1/4 cents. Kansas City hard red winter wheat for September. How you like this? Ended the week at 752 1/2, down 103 3/4 cents a bushel. Ouch. Talk about your fat cattle trade, and like I said, I can't understand why USDA's market news website is down for maintenance all the time anymore, but you can't get the information out of there. But from what I heard last week, we saw the Northern Plains trading several cattle at 188 live and 295 dressed. Now that's in the range from last week, but towards the higher side of it, and the weighted averages are sure going to be higher. And like I said, the Southern Plains, they were doing everything but pull a knife to try to keep that market depressed, wanting to buy low grading cattle, cows and things like that at 179 to keep the market mostly steady, but they ended up not getting that done from what I've heard. And supposedly the rumor is there was some 180 trade late on Friday at 180. That wouldn't have been on the USDA website, the market report anyway. But let's talk about what else is going on. Ever Ag Risk Management specializes in cattle and grain brokerage, insurance services including DRP, LRP, LGM, and PRF, if you know what all those mean. They also specialize in advisory services to buyers and sellers of grain products and Vault software technology. For more information, go to ever.ag. Talk about your feeder cattle market, your real-time index on DV Auction. Don't have to worry about that being closed for maintenance. We can get that pretty readily. Real-time index ended the week last week based on an 800-pound steer, cash auction steer through the middle 12 states. Ended the week at 244.29. That was actually down 73 cents for the week. And like I said, the cash auction steers, a lot of our sales are running lighter supplies. Weren't seeing as many of those really green grass yearlings coming in and topping the market. Now we still see it when they show up, but it wasn't enough to hold that index level up there as high as what it was. Talk about some big sales that happened late last week or over the weekend. The biggest was Dunlap Livestock Auction in Dunlap, Iowa. The Shaven family had their barbecue special and 73rd anniversary of that auction market, and congratulations to them. That's quite an accomplishment. Had nearly 5,000 head of cattle on offer and a really well-tested market. Look at this automated marker report through Cattle Market Central, and you see the best tested weights, which were most of the steers. 249 head of 5-weight steers averaged 555 with a weighted average price of $290.19. Impressive. 217 head of 6-weight steers averaged 655 with a weighted average price of $272.77. 539 head of 7-weight steers, average 740 pounds, weighted average price $256.88. 962 head of 8-weight steers. Now these wouldn't feed like your Flint Hill cattle, and most of them had probably been had some supplemental feeding there coming from that part of the country, but the quality would be outstanding. The 962 head 8 weights averaged 846 with a weighted average price of $245.82. 443 head of 9-weight steers averaged 957, weighted average price $230.24. Look at a couple weight groups of heifers. How about 662 head of 7-weight heifers, average 744 pounds, average price $248.57, and 263 head of 8-weight heifers, averaged 829 pounds, weighted average price $237.62. Hell of a sale there at Dunlap Livestock Auction. Give you several individual quotes from all around. How about Wahoo Livestock Sales in Wahoo, Nebraska? DB Auction customer there. 93 steers weighed 847 and bring $250. Impressive quote there. Got an individual quote from Dunlap. 73 steers weighed 780 and bring $263.50. Very impressive there. I got a message from Jim Doss over the weekend at Bluegrass Stockyards in Richmond, Kentucky. He said he could not believe how those big warmed up steers sold there in Richmond. I mean, just 2 or 3 blocks off the town square there, and it's just amazing the long strings of cattle that he gets into that sale barn. Bluegrass Richmond sold 288 head of 1,011 pound steers. There were 6 loads of them weighed up. You just don't think about that right there in Richmond, Kentucky. 288 head. The 6 loads averaged 1,011 pounds and bring $224.75. He had an individual load of 54 head, weighed 1,001 pounds, bring $235.25. Are you kidding me? That's more than any of the Western steers weighing 1,000 pounds brought late last week or over the weekend. But the most impressive quote that I saw anywhere late last week, over the weekend, your Mackerson No BS top quote for the day, come out of Burwell Livestock Market in Burwell, Nebraska. They sell 273 steers, weighed 979 at $252.25. And that's your feeder flash for Monday.